Hey everyone, we're so glad to be here on to which topic. It is amazing how a simple message on social media can actually lead to a life-changing opportunity and meaningful connection. And for now, we're going to dive into what we did week by week. So during the first week of our collaboration, we had to narrow down our topic for the competition. As we look at the project submission deadline, we realized we only have 1 month to develop and also submit our work. We feel the pressure to make a quick decision. It was also the first time we were faced with so many options, from which thing to focus on to which topic we want to explore. It was quite overwhelming. And Enrique and I spent a few days brainstorming and evaluating various options. Fortunately, we found a data set that caught all our attention related to happiness. And our design story starting changing from here. After brainstorming idea around this, we ultimately decide to focus on happiness as our topic. And we begin to explore the Happy Planet Index dataset linked from the World Government Summit website. However, after looking into it more, I recognize the Happy Planet Index website already has thoughtful visualization and insight driven from this index. So we asked ourselves, if this visualization already exists, how can we add more value here? During the second week, after exploring different dataset combination, we found an interesting angle to combine the Happy Planet Index with an ecological footprint dataset to demonstrate the environmental costs of traditional way to increase happiness.
In the second week of our collaboration, we aimed to elevate our visualization by incorporating other datasets related to happiness. We explored various combinations of datasets seeking to add more depth and insight to our project. Finally, we decided on a compelling angle to combine the Happy Planet Index with an ecological footprint dataset to illustrate the relationship between environmental costs and traditional measures of happiness. This discovery opened up a new angle for us to explore and inspire us to create a more unique and meaningful data visualization. Now that we have our concept locked down, we entered the exploration phase for visualization with R. This is what I like to call the ugly grass phase, where we increase the frequency of our calls and exchange messages on Instagram to discuss different directions we could take with our data and the types of visualization we wanted to include on the poster.
However, as our collaboration progressed and communication frequency increased, we began to encounter some tensions. One of the primary challenge was that English is a second language for both of us, and we often express ourselves differently. This actually lead to some misunderstanding and difficulty in efficiently communicating our idea. However, as we approach the third week of our partnership, we started to build the gap by making an effort to understanding each other's communication style better. With mutual understanding and patience, we're able to work more collaboratively. And for the third week, we started exploring some early mapping idea to brainstorm how to present the geographical relationship in the data.
At the same time, I continued cleaning and exploring the correlation between the two datasets, which turned it into the final scatter plot shown in our project. These plots allow us to identify the different trends between developing and developed countries.
We also started to exchange our thoughts, sharing screenshots back and forth. But here we meet a new obstacle of how to design the map. I started to explore the idea of overlapping some abstract visual symbol on top of the map from different directions, but we both feel stuck here. And then one day I started to ask myself, when I think about the word happiness, what things do I associate with it the most? I realized a smiling face and a warm yellow color were the two visual cues that jumped immediately into my head. After several discussions with Enrique, we decided to use variations of smiling face emoji as a visual representation to express the relationship between each nation's happiness and environmental impact. This decision also becomes the foundation for a cohesive visual system that connects all the elements of our poster, including the map and the chart. By leveraging these visual cues and creating a clear and consistent design language, we're able to develop a compelling visualization that's efficiently conveying our message.
And I definitely wouldn't say this was an easy process. I like the idea and we have the first drafts of the map. But there was a moment when I doubted if it was the right choice since the world government summons is such a serious event. I worried that using emojis will make the visuals too childish.
And in here, you can see some idea we explore while figuring out a logical system behind the smiling face. Initially, I tried using 20 different emoji to represent footprint and happiness level. However, I soon realized 20 emoji was too many. The system needed to be simplified. So I cut down to just 9 symbols. I also iterate for a while on choosing the best facial expression. Early design include squatty eyes and angry face, but I realized this feature could be misinterpreted. I also tried with a more neutral color scale, but this still didn't make it easy to see the different ecological footprint at a glance. Eventually, I settled on using warm, bright, smiling face for country in the high happiness with high ecological footprint category. I chose green for country with a low ecological footprint because it is associated with natural and environmentalism. During the third week of our collaboration, we faced another challenge as we started to run out of time to complete our project. Originally, we had the ambition to submit both a status poster and the interactive visualization. But as we dove into the detail of the poster, we have to make the difficult decision to give up on submitting to the interactive category and focus solo on creating a high quality poster.
It was a tough decision, but we knew we had to make it to deliver a quality poster on time. For the last 10 days, we focused all our energy on finalizing the history and refining the visuals to create a cohesive and effective data visualization project. Every time one of us had an update, we added these new charts and maps to Illustrator and shared the file and screenshot with each other for feedback. This approach allows us to optimize our collaborative efforts and leverage our time zone difference. For example, the time in my time zone is 3 hours ahead of Qingyue's. As a result, upon waking up and checking my email, it was common to find surprise project updates in my inbox.
And during the first week of our collaboration, to streamline the final editing process, I recreate our visualization in Figma. This allowed me to efficiently build components for all the elements, select typography, and test color option. However, we encounter a new challenge at this stage, as we determined a need for summary graphic that complements our layout and provide audience with a clear takeaway from our poster. We experiment with values graphic alternative before settling a scatter plot to showcase the main takeaway from the project, which we're going to present on our later slide. We also work until the very end to ensure we're ready to submit the best version of our poster. And now let's zoom into some visualization detail in our poster. We can start with a geospatial visualization. So we use a Varga map to examine the geographical relationship between the Happy Planet Index and ecological footprint, using the average number between 2010 and 2020. Each emoji expresses this value. The size of the smiling face is determined by the country's population, and the color shows the footprint of each country, and the facial expression shows the happiness level. We can see from the map that most countries in Europe belong to the high happiness and high footprint category, and most countries in Africa are in the low happiness and low footprint category.
At the same time, we use a scatter plot to closely examine the correlation between Happy Planet Index and ecological footprint. However, in this visualization, we opted not to use emojis and replace them with shapes to differentiate between developing countries, represented by circles, and developed countries, represented by triangles. By doing so, we were able to enhance the differentiation between the two groups and conduct a more in-depth analysis of the data. This shows countries with higher consumption often have higher happiness. However, there is a point where happiness stops increasing with increasing ecological footprint. In the map, we use the average number from 2010 and 2020. We also want to examine changes in these footprints over time and draw insights from the comparison between developed and developing countries. To achieve this, we generated a series of small multi-piece charts that display the ecological footprints of developed and developing countries side by side. We learned that between 2000 and 2020, some high ecological footprint countries, like Luxembourg, have reduced their impact, while others, like Canada and the United States, haven't changed much. For developing countries, the ecological footprint has tended to increase, and these nations have developed. For instance, Mongolia's ecological footprint was highest in 2020, and we expect it to continue to grow. These trends provide valuable insights into the dynamics of ecological footprints and the role of development in shaping them.
And the main takeaway from the scatter plot is a general trend of happier country also having a higher consumption. The natural question we had was to look at which countries rank highly on happiness, but didn't have the correspondingly large ecological footprint. We actually found countries like Costa Rica, Mexico, Panama, and Brazil have achieved this balance between sustainability and happiness. Despite having relative low ecological footprint, these countries are just as happy as a more developed European nation. What is that Central American countries are doing differently to achieve this balance? Perhaps leaders can use this data ways to take a more sustainable growth path. In case you're curious, we use several tools to create our visualization for this project. So we started with Notion to brainstorm and RStudio to clean the dataset and explore visualization approach. We then used Adobe Illustrator for our initial draft of the poster layout. We used S3 Map Viewer product to design the map. And finally, we used Figma for our final layout. As for what we learned through our whole process, our project not only provide us the opportunity to explore visualization, but also taught us very important soft skill lessons. One key lesson that I learned was the value of open communication. Collaborating with Enrique for the first time, we initially approached our feedback very consciously, which slowed our process. However, as we became more open and with each other, the process started to speed up. As we mentioned, we initially planned to submit both a poster and interactive project, but by being honest with each other, we realized it would be much better to focus on the poster alone. And now, when I look back, if we had split our time between both categories, we're probably ending with not finishing either project.
For me, working in this project taught me the importance of dividing tasks efficiently based on individual strengths and work styles. In this collaboration, I took on the task of cleaning and exploring the data, while giving Qingyue more time to focus on the project's duration and create visualizations. She has a lot of experience in product design, and I sincerely trusted that the final result would be very good in her hands.
Collaborating on our award-winning poster wasn't a very straightforward process, but by staying open, communicating effectively, and improving task assignment, we made it to the end. If we can overcome this difficulty, we believe that you can do it too. So we hope that our project will inspire you to create more database projects on any topic you're interested in. As you can see from our funding, happiness and the consumption don't have to be positive correlate. We wanted to invite you to reflect on what sustainable happiness means for you. And we believe that true happiness comes from meaningful experiments rather than material perceptions. And we encourage you to join us in exploring a new way to cultivate sustainable happiness in your daily life. In addition to all these valuable lessons, this project also sparked my interest in finding a balance between consumption and personal happiness. After completing this poster, my journal toward expressing and understanding happiness through data ways continued. I was inspired by this saying, think globally and locally. Seeing happiness from micro level increased my appreciation and my awareness of smaller joys in my daily life. So one result of this self-reflection is the ongoing Instagram side project, Mapping Happiness, where I capture and document small moments of joy in daily life. I'm collaborating with another information designer who is from Netherlands. In today's society, happiness is often associated with what we own or things we should own. And we wanted to challenge this notion. If you're interested in joining us in our happiness journal, you can scan the QR code here. I would also personally love to invite you to share one of your joyful moments from today with us. We will be delighted to hear from you and share in your happiness.
Now, we will share our final thoughts for this project. Through our journey, we also recognize that the happiness index dataset has its limitations and biases. I may not fully reflect the conditions on the ground. At a global level, the happiness indicator may suggest a certain level of happiness based on the country you live in. Therefore, we suggest that visualizing the constituent components of the happiness index could provide a more nuanced understanding.
Our project exemplifies the impact of data visualization and information design on exploring and cohering abstract concepts like happiness. And to best harness the power of data visualization, I encourage you to frame happiness as a journey, not a destination. And we invite you to embark on a journey of self-exploration and discovery. I believe you'll marvel at what you'll find.
Thanks for attention and thank you so much for this amazing data visualization community.
And please feel free to reach out to us and chat more about data visualization, happiness, or mapping. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So while we wait for those questions to come in, I just want to say it was so interesting and surprising to me that you all met on Instagram. I think that's like such a cool use of social media. So just curious from the two of you, what was the most surprising aspect of this work for you? Did you have the same thought, different thoughts, but just curious what bubbled up for you as an aha moment in all of this?
For me, actually, I feel like we have a lot of aha moments. First one is how we actually make the whole thing work. Because at the beginning, all we had planned is we want to collaborate together, but we actually have no idea how we're going to do this. Like despite of the time different and culture different, like a lot of different things. But eventually we just took like one step and kind of figured this out on a weekly basis. And by the end, we made everything work. So for me, this is definitely the bigger surprise.
Well, in my case, finding me trying something really, really new because I didn't think that I would try to enter in a kind of contest or something like this before. And in the other hand, in some way, looking that I was taking new challenges here because I have we have with Qingyue language barrier here. So in some ways, it was a little difficult to communicate on those things. So for me, it was really surprising to try to make this with all these difficulties achieve this. So it was really, really surprising.
Excellent, thank you. And so we know about mapping happiness already. Are there any other collaborations that you think might be on the horizon for the two of you specifically, or any part two that you might be envisioning for this work? Just would love to see your brains come together again and make some more fun stuff for us.
Yeah, maybe I can start from this. So I feel like through this project, one thing really helped me realize is happiness is a topic I really want to continue to explore. So for the rest of this year, although I didn't have any specific plan lined out, but I am definitely willing to continue to explore this topic through the lens of data visualization. So if anyone wants to collaborate with me, feel free to send me a message and we can go from there.
Well, I want to continue working with Qingyue in the future. I feel really comfortable with her, and it's really cool to share new ideas related to just one single topic. I have different points of views. This about happiness is global, I know, and actually we are from different um, places and we have different experience, and that's really awesome when you are trying to talk about this kind of topic.
Great, thank you. And we do have a couple of questions coming in. Faith had asked about the tools that you use. I remember you said Illustrator, you said Figma, Notion in the beginning, correct? Did I miss? There were two others, correct?
Yes, including Notion for sure, and Figma for the final edit. And at the beginning, we actually used Illustrator for the at least beginning 3 weeks, to be honest, until the final 72 hours before the deadline, we decided to switch Figma. So that is something we also didn't plan, but it just happened. But I really feel like Figma is amazing to just really speed up the editing process, because you can zoom in and zoom out pretty quick compared to Adobe Illustrator. And as for the map part, we actually use Map Viewer product from Esri to do that part.
Great, thank you. Sean had asked, I missed this, but how did you calculate the ecological footprint?
So do you want to take this part?
Well, we found a data set about the ecological footprint. I don't remember exactly, but the international, well, the contest, they shared with us a different data set, so we just choose the more interesting thing, right?
Great, thank you. And I think this question's from Marta to you. I'm not 100% sure. It says, what other topics did you check as well in the first week? Does that?
Oh, actually a lot. I feel like, let me recall this member really quick. I feel like from the World Government Summit website, as you can tell, it's very like serious, data visualization computation. So I feel like most topics are really, of course, all focused on the country level. But for us, after we compare like a couple different directions, we just feel like we are in personal level, like can resonate with happiness, this data set a little bit more. And if I remember correctly, like happiness is a data set was hiding under one section called life quality, and at the bottom of that section. So it's pretty invisible in my opinion. If you think about, you're actually seeing 100 of different data sets together in one page. So we just feel extremely lucky for actually being discovered this one specific data set.
Excellent, thank you. I think we got to all of our questions. So I just wanted to, again, thank you both for sharing so much beautiful information and beautiful visuals. Congratulations on winning. And I'm gonna go ahead and, oh, I'm sorry. Luther, we have time for one last question. I think we have 2 minutes left, if you don't mind. Luther has a question. Did you control for any variables, was his question.
Sorry, Eric, want to take this?
We can also follow up with it in the chat if you want to ruminate on it a little bit.
Yeah, let's follow up on the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
cool.
we feel like we need the link to yeah.
Luther will be in touch. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you both.